So I had done research from 2010 to 2020 on hundreds of industries that had been attempted to be consolidated, but didn't work because of the fragmentation. And I always knew I could build this mousetrap to go roll up all those industries on behalf of the business owners versus the public equity guys. And so I had all this. And when I sold my business and then we grew the public company, I kind of needed to test myself on my skills of going from 1 billion to 4 and wanting to do it in 10 or 15 other countries besides just North America. So once I had my confidence with that, I was now on a new plan. And the question I had to ask myself is, where can I go and meet a massive amount of people taking 20 years of my work, building automation, doing research and all, millions of dollars building all this out, and then proving with a 77 times EBITDA and then taking $1 billion company to 4 that it works, right? And so I had a new problem. How do I go out? So all the private equity guys were coming to me saying, we want you to take our distressed assets. And I was like, I don't want to do that because that's the position I hated back when they got me out of my business. And so Natalie, who's half my age, she's a remarkable partner. She was like, you should look at some of these social media guys. So I started looking at the traditional suspects and I was going through them one at a time. And then she brought me Grant Cardone. I had never heard of him. And she said, you should look at this guy. And this was in 2009 or the end of 2018. And I'm like, she showed me a YouTube video of Grant. And he had his hat like this. And he was in front of his plane going, hey, shooting money out of his hand. And I started laughing. I said, now you're playing with me. And she's like, no, you got to understand the genius of this guy. You got to look at what he's done. And so I resisted it for a good 3 months. Then she gave me the 10X rule. And I refused to have anything to do with it based on that one video. And she said, your intellectual arrogance and ignorance is getting in your way of your dream. And that's the problem you have, Brandon. And I was like, okay. So then I started listening to it and I was like, this guy's a genius. Like in the first 15 minutes of listening to 10X rule, I knew he knew what he was talking about. We talked about those teachers and the people telling us at church what to do and all that. They've never done it. When someone's done it, you know, they've done it. Like you and I sit down and we talk, I know you did it because there's no way you could have this muscle memory and this programmed response to so many different things if you hadn't done it. So all of a sudden I'm like, all right, he's the real deal. Let's go to GrowthCon. No one knew who we were. We bought tickets. Now a dear friend of mine was speaking there, John Maxwell. And I've worked with him in his business and helped him. And he's helped me for 15 years or 13 years now. And Hector introduced me to John, by the way. So John was speaking there. So he and I went to dinner afterwards and he's like, man, I'd never been in a room with 35,000 people like that. And I was like, I can't believe he pulled this off on Super Bowl weekend. And every person I met there were business owners that I called my research firm. And I said, before I roll in this meeting of the 300 verticals I targeted to roll up, how many of them does he do sales training in? And they came back and said 62%. So I was like, whoa. So I was meeting all these amazing people from HVAC, medical, roofing, windows, you name it. I was meeting them. So I went to Grant. I got a chance to meet Grant. John pulled Grant aside after he spoke and he pointed at us and had us come up by the side of the stage. I'd never met Grant, never even seen personally Grant this first day. And he pointed at us and stood there and Grant kind of waved. And then he told me that night at dinner, I told Grant, those are my people. Like anything, if you get a chance to meet them, you need to meet this couple. And so I met Grant and Grant said, hey, I wanted to meet you, don't know shit about you. Cause I didn't let no sale. They thought my transaction on their webpage was a fraud because I spent 30 grand for 2 tickets and nobody knew who I was. And that was intentional. I didn't want, just in case I wanted to bail, I didn't want anybody to know who I was. Right. So I said, Grant, I've got something that could add a couple billion to your net worth and mine if you want to talk about it. So we started the conversation. I showed him what I did, what I've created, where it's 100% complement to what he does, where I don't know how to do what he does. It was a multiplier. And it was taking this, your exact observation. It's not by chance that Elena and Grant, we aren't going to partnerships where there's a money multiplier model. And in fact, EXP was the new version of what I learned at Primerica. So I run Elena's business case at EXP. We've recruited over 600 agents in less than a year. And what I've also done is we're rolling out our 10X health program. I'm announcing it at the event in 3 weeks. It is a money multiplier model as well. And I've engineered 10 other industries using the money multiplier model that takes traditional joint venture, franchise, and the money multiplier model economic system and puts it all into one business unit I've created using all these concepts and leverage points. And we're announcing the 10 industries that we're rolling it out at GrowthCon.
Fantastic, man. That is, wow. That's, I mean, you know, but again, what you did though, is you brought value to the table. You said, hey, Grant, I can change your business. I can do this for you. I can help you with this. There was no, there was no mistaking what you had done in your life, and you were ready. It was just the timing was right for you to say, look, I'm going to go and I'm going to merge with another company, and I'm going to take this thing to a whole new level. Yeah, so congratulations on that, by the way.
What I would tell your listeners is that I'm a firm believer that, especially with all the new economies that are coming, especially with how much disruption, that the true currency going forward is collaboration. It's not cash. And I would never be where I'm at today if it wasn't for Hector teaching me, collaborating with me. I'd never be where I'm at today if I didn't build a business model that collaborated with business owners and helped them. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't collaborate with all these thought leaders, John Maxwell, Jim Collins, Sharon Lechter, Robert Anthony, all the people that Hector introduced me conceptually to, that I've had the privilege to work. If I didn't collaborate with all those people, I wouldn't be who I am today, and I wouldn't know what I know. And so my business model is actually a collaboration model. And because of how impressed I was with what Primerica did, because Primerica is a collaboration model. You go out to the community, you find people, you help them. The ones that want it bad enough will actually do the right kind of work. They'll have the resilience necessary to succeed, and then they'll be the living example for other people to do it. And that's what's missing in traditional business, is there's no examples for anybody, because everybody's stuck in a hierarchical control mechanism that doesn't promoting people. It promotes securing and holding your spot. So it's why business it's how business needs to evolve and grow. And I'm really super excited about it. But the roots and the origin of all this is what you guys do every day. And I think your listeners should know, like, if you're sitting there right now and you're like, hey, I want to one day own my own business, let me be crystal clear. Only 3% of all the businesses succeed over a 10-year window. It's a painful route. 2/3 of those businesses fail in the first 5 years. 97% fail in the first 10 years. And the reason they fail, the top 3 complaints on why they failed. Complaint number 1, there's no demand for my product or service. Complaint number 2, I can't find any good people to help me. Complaint number 3, I can't get financing. Guess what? In your business at Primerica, you take all of that out of the equation, because we know there's demand for product or service. You have an unbelievable public company that's trading at massive valuations and has grown every single year for the last 25 years by creating value for human beings and what you do. You have a human development platform that allows ordinary people to create extraordinary results and become multi-million-dollar earnings. I know him personally, Chris Howard. I had dinner or lunch with him the other day. You've got so many, Brandon Neal. You got so many people that I still remember that started out when I started out that became millionaires in the business. So the question of does it work? The answer is absolutely. But who does it work for is what you have to ask yourself, because now it's the who. So the what, the how, now it's the who. The question for people that work with you is, do they have the internal fortitude to do what's necessary based on what the living examples of the other people did, and fight through the challenges, the false beliefs, the false glass ceilings, the opinions and perspectives of their peer groups and their friends and their family, telling them they should just get a good job and be comfortable and go have a family and go to college and just be normal and don't press anything and don't try to sell anybody anything. All that oppressive thinking, because they were programmed. The question is, do you have the resilience to ignore all that to pursue your own personal, professional, financial goals, to find true financial freedom? Because if the answer is, I don't care what anybody has to say, I want that as the highest priority in my life, the thing you guys offer, just like EXP, just like what we're doing for businesses, there's no longer a question, does it work? It's all been laid out. The only question is, are you committed to making it happen?
Thank you for watching our short clips on Alonzo Academy. If you'd like to watch the next short clip, click here. If you'd like to watch the entire podcast, click here.